Thank you. The next question will begin with Barry. And this time I'll read the question with my glasses on. Okay, thousands of workers in the coal industry have been displaced and are out of work. How can our state best address this problem?
This is a hard thing because there's big economic change that's happening, and some of it's inevitable, and we have to do the best we can for the coal miners. I would like on the federal level to change the law that allows companies to declare bankruptcy and get rid of pensions and health care that's been promised to mine workers for life while they give their CEO a $2 million bonus. That's a disgrace, but I think that's a federal issue that we need to address. And I would again go to Mike Penny, who's running for Congress, to ask people to vote for him. What we can do, there is a federal program that's to reemploy mine workers in repairing the land. And I don't think the state's accepted it. I don't think Shelley Moore Capito was too happy about it, but it seems like that would be a start to do that, to employ people to help rehabilitate the land that's been trashed by the coal industry. I think it's going to be very hard for people to stay in little towns in rural counties. That hasn't happened anyplace else in the country. Every place else, people have moved into the cities and suburbs. What they would need is broadband access, small businesses, people who get an education and want to go back there. And I don't know if we can really do that. I think our best bet is to go with rehabbing the land that's there for them, trying to get everybody the pension that they work for and their health insurance.
We have so many displaced workers. I really have thought about this very hard, about how we're going to be able to turn around an entire state, and especially doing it within a timely manner. Well, prior to people losing their homes, having no way to put their students or their children through college. The disruption of the coal industry was devastating to the entire state. And so for us to be able to put together a plan that is going to be able to be implemented quickly and be able to be sustainable and be able to put our families back to work and be able to send our students to college, I can tell you it's going to take more than just I. I am not an engineer, I'm an educator. That's the field I work in. And so I think that by having a very diverse legislative committee where each of us has our specialty, each of us has our strengths, I think that that's what we need to do. We need to be able to have somebody who's familiar with job creation, someone who knows how to be able to put that educational piece into that, to train the people that are going to do that. Someone like Barbara, who's had many years of legislative opportunity to be able to help us write the bills in order to make these types of things happen. It's going to take all of us working together in order to be able to really address the displacement that's happened throughout the state of West Virginia. I'm sorry that probably is not the answer that most people want to hear, but I cannot do that by myself. I don't think that I'm qualified to say it's going to take A, B, C, and D. It's going to take a lot more than 5 of us even. We need to have an entire team put together. We have many people sitting out in this audience that have specialties. We have many college students that are looking at engineering programs, that look at building and construction. So we need to be able to pull together a team statewide in order to help us manage this situation.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I had a plumbing issue this morning, and I have a wonderful person who helps us when things break in our house, and he was talking about the situation with his son who works in the coal mines still. And there are plenty of mines around, but he got transferred to another mine, and he had a $10 an hour pay soon going to be beyond his means. And it really is a tragedy. People have had a middle-class way of life, and they have truck payments, and they have house payments, and they have to leave because, they aren't going to be able to afford their current way of life. So whoever said it's going to take a while, I guess that was you, Nancy, I think it is. And also whoever said infrastructure could be part of the solution. I mean, a lot of coal miners know how to build things because they build structures within the mines. And if we are building out our broadband and our roads, I mean, that's kind of what brought us out of the Depression. We had building programs, like the CCC worked on stuff like that. So I think we need to look into farming, and that's really excites me, and we have more farm to school stuff, but that's not going to replace the incomes that coal miners have been lucky to have and aren't going to have in the future, given the direction that coal is going. So I think those are some things that we can work on, but I think infrastructure would really be, we're sort of going in circles, education and infrastructure, and we're going to need to invest in both of them.
We're seeing lots of coal companies go bankrupt, and this is having huge impacts on coal miners and their families, and retirees, and people and families who work for the support industries. So it really is a serious crisis. But compounding it, and it is the fact that we knew this was going to happen so many years ago. And I think back to a report that I co-authored back in 2010 that looked at the projections of coal production in this part of the country and in West Virginia. And the coal production was projected to fall off greatly over the next few years. And it did. And it did because of mechanization and because the easiest to access coal seams are being mined out, and because of competition from cheap natural gas, competition from other coal basins where they can mine coal cheaper, and competition from solar and wind that's getting more affordable year after year. So we knew this was going to happen, and part of the tragedy is that state leaders weren't being honest with people over the last decade, and they were making it seem like if we could just change the administration in Washington, that all our problems would go away. So I think one thing that's really important in terms of addressing this issue is to be straight with people so that we can solve the right problems. Now there are federal programs that are providing millions of dollars to coal communities that are impacted by declining production. There's what's called the Power Initiative, and there's $40 or $50 million that are available across the country. We're involved in some proposals, others are as well, to draw as much of that money into West Virginia as possible so that we could use those to do job retraining, to create new economic opportunities. But it's going to take more than just money from the federal government. It's going to take all the things that we've already talked about, investing in small businesses, infrastructure, and education.
Well, this is coming from a coal mining family. This is a subject that is near to my heart. My father and both grandfathers and 5 uncles were all coal miners, and my father lost his job in the 1950s. He was a track man in the mines, and they brought in the continuous miners, and they run on wheels, and so you don't need a track man anymore. But there are different solutions to this. Of course, finding alternative, if you definitely want to try to save coal and put miners back to work, and find alternative uses for coal, and they're working real hard at the Morgan County Energy Center to do that, to find alternative uses and develop clean coal technology. But I think the solution comes down to vocational education in these areas where there's high unemployment from mine layoffs. And I think you expand vocational education in those areas, make it free, try to find jobs for these folks who have been laid off from the mine. I'm talking about turn to the energy if I have some more time. Share an anecdote. Years ago, we had a coal gasification plant proposed for the western end of the county, and the German and Japanese governments were involved, and the Gulf Oil company. And I got egg on my face because I wrote an article for the Statesman's Yearbook talking about this plant, and then Reagan came into office and canceled it. So who really started the war on coal? Not a Democrat.
This issue hits very close to home for me. Like I said before, my dad retired from federal too, and his pension and health care and all of his colleagues are under attack. I agree that we have to change the bankruptcy laws. I agree that we need to open up vocational programs for job retraining and certifications. I agree with all of that. But being in a coal mining family, watching some of these families, watching the plight of the working man, it's part of a bigger issue. We have to set higher standards. I read an article just the other day that the current legislature, the next session, their goal is going to be to repeal the minimum wage. They're trying to tell us that by repealing the minimum wage that these companies are going to want to pay us more. It's a joke. It really is. But it's sad. They think it's serious, and they think that that's what they need to do. Trying to control a little bit of my emotion here. But there's people in this audience that grew up in a generation where their parents and grandparents worked flipping a burger or making a sandwich in a kitchen. They worked in department stores. They cleaned restrooms. My grandmother was a janitor. But today we have a Walmart economy. We have regressive people passing legislation making it okay to pay somebody a mere wage they can't even afford food or a roof over their head. The standards have to change. We have to pay a living wage. Is it subhuman to flip a burger? Is it subhuman to clean a toilet? Are we above that? Maybe it's not that our coal miners don't have the skills to go do something else. Maybe it is us as a society, we have to change our viewpoint of what a respected profession is and what a living wage should be.
This is a problem that has been around for so long. I was watching a C-SPAN documentary on the Staggers-Mollahan election in 1990. What an exciting life I lead. It was talking about the biggest issue of that election was the stark decline in West Virginia's coal industry. That was 26 years ago. Here we are still just kind of, what are we going to do now? I mean, we haven't addressed it for so long, and that's what's so sad about it. People talk, my counterparts on the right, they talk about, why don't you give us a chance after you drove the car for 84 years? It's not the Democrats' fault. It's the fact that we let big industry and big business own this state for so long. And now we have to take it back. And now we have to help the people who got knocked on their butts because nobody cared about them except for what they could do for the government. And now we need to help those people. And that is job training programs. There's a wonderful program in West Virginia called West Virginia Women at Work. That's for women. It's something I'm a big fan of because it helps with an issue of mine, which is the wage gap. But similar programs could be started for workers of both genders who have been displaced in the mining industry. Margaret talked about how we got out of the Great Depression. FDR put people to work. And then a nice byproduct of that, you don't drive through a pothole when you leave here. We improve our infrastructure. We have a nice park system, things of that nature, while putting people to work. It's a problem. Thank you so much.
Well, first off, I believe that we should be able to preserve what is left of the coal industry. And because these people are the ones that power our homes and put their lives on the line to allow us to live the quality of life that we have. And I think that we should really be doing everything we can to help put these coal miners back to work. I believe that there's something called political mode of a symmetry in which one side of the aisle believes that everything they do is full of love and they're right, and the other side is full of hate and everything that they do is wrong. And I believe that everybody here can come together and rally behind this issue and help put coal miners back to work. We should lobby the federal governments for extra funds to put coal miners in various vocational training programs and really just do our part to help out of our coal miners.